You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Finally, opening day of the 2018 minor league baseball season is here. You can get most excited about not having to hear me say, hey, the season is almost here, for like 6 more months. You don't ever have to hear me say that again.
Yeah, and you don't have to hear Ben talk about you saying that.
Talk about me saying it,
just
right.
So many bonds of freedom. That
so many things you can get excited about as we get set for the first contests of the minor league baseball season in 2018. Welcome in, everybody. Episode number 154 of the Show Before the Show podcast from MILB.com. My name is Tyler Maun, and we've got a whole cast of characters today on the show. A special edition season preview episode of the Show Before the Show. Proud native of the state of Massachusetts is Sam Dykstra. Hello, Sam.
You're doing this to hurt me personally.
Yes,
you realize this.
I am. A man who only eats from straight heads of lettuce and uncut stalks of broccoli is Josh Jackson in Los Angeles. Hi, Josh.
So untrue, but hello.
And the woman who cheers for the hunter in the movie Bambi is Kelsie Heneghan. Hi, Kelsie.
I don't know. I haven't seen that movie since I was a tot, so I can't recall, but probably.
All you have to say is no. I rooted for the nice baby deer. Like, you can't even say.
I don't know this deer. I don't know his mother. I don't know what she did.
Because she died.
Okay, like.
It's complicated, Sam.
I don't know what she did.
Guilty.
I don't know what she did, as though the deer's mother caused some personal affront to the hunter. Like, whoa. That's reserved judgment here. Maybe that deer's mom was a real jerk.
She could have bit someone.
That's possible. Well, hey, it's our season preview episode of the 2018 campaign for the Show Before the Show podcast, and we are set for a whole bunch of topics. This is something that we started. Is this our 3rd year doing this, or is this is just the 2nd year in this format, correct?
Yes. But we liked it so much the way we did it last year.
Brought it back. Exactly.
Yes.
So the 4 of us are going to get a chance to talk about all kinds of things across the minor leagues, from the most exciting teams to breakout prospects, some previews of possibly who you could be seeing making huge impacts at the major league level this year. And we are going to eschew our normal format, although you will hear today from some very exciting people, among them Ben Hill, but also Nick Senzel, the top prospect in the Cincinnati Reds organization, the number 7 prospect, and all of baseball will join the show coming up here in a little bit. But no 3 strikes. Instead, we're going to dive into our season preview, and we're going to get things started talking about the best, most exciting, most interesting lineup of all the minor league teams going into 2018. This year, we've got a lot of teams that kind of have multiple just ridiculous prospects on them, and then a lot of rosters that have a large amount of guys that you think, yeah, he could be a really good player someday. But there are a lot, I feel like, of lineups that you could choose from for this. One, I think, is going to stand above the crowd, but we're going to kick things off by getting started with Josh Jackson, our most interesting lineup selections. Josh, take it away.
Well, I'll tell you that I think you can all be glad that the random order generator picked me to go first, because I did a lot of my picks. I worked hard to pick things that I didn't think anybody else would pick. This might be the exception. I have picked the AAA Durham Bulls as the most interesting lineup, with a number of the great Rays prospects that they have, all starting out at AAA. Willie Adames and Jake Bowers and Christian Arroyo and Justin Williams and Joe McCarthy. And they also, not a prospect, but somebody who I think is a really interesting baseball player and makes a game an interesting game is Micah Johnson is there now. That, I think, is an interesting offense.
I do love that there's a prospect named Joe McCarthy. I just think for anybody.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Is he also from Wisconsin?
Yeah, wasn't there some kind of connection there too? Joe McCarthy, Rays. I feel like we had this discussion last year at some point, Josh and I. He's from Scranton, Pennsylvania, so at least somewhat close to,
That's Wisconsin.
being a 19th from the state
No,
of
I just
Pennsylvania.
I just said that to irritate. Well, I guess every listener, but on the backs of this Commonwealth First State conversation, I just wanted to blur the lines of geography a little further.
We should probably explain to those listening, we were having a Commonwealth versus state debate before we started recording the show. So now that you're all aware, Massachusetts state native Sam Dykstra is up next. Sam, what stands out to you as the most intriguing lineup in all of minor league baseball headed into this season?
Well, to be honest with you, I thought this is what Josh was going to say when he said he was going to pick a lineup that a lot of us were going to take, which was New Hampshire, Double-A New Hampshire. And Kelsie just gave a shrug as if, like, I stole it from her as well.
No, you definitely did not.
I definitely did not.
I wasn't going to go that obvious. I didn't want to.
Okay, well, I'll be the obvious person. The obvious person says obvious things. Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette, it was confirmed just about a week and a half ago that they will be starting the year at Double-A. That's super exciting. Just because they only spent half a year both at Class A Lansing and Class A Advanced Dunedin last year. Vlad just turned 19 earlier this month, or just a couple weeks ago, March 16th. I'm getting confused of what month we're in. Bo Bichette turned 20 about a month ago, March 5th. Still super young, but the fact that they're going to be tested against Double-A arms, those two guys alone would make that a super interesting lineup and are going to make that a must-watch roster. But there's a couple other guys who will be there. Kevin Biggio, another son of a major league or another son of a Hall of Famer now, with Vlad Sr. also being in the Hall of Fame. He'll be there in the Eastern League. But Max Pentecost will be there as well. Be really interested to see exactly what they do with him defensively. They want to continue working him as a catcher. He's had shoulder problems that have held him back severely since he was a big talent coming out of the draft. They want to see him add more innings as a catcher this year. His bat is pretty good. It's not good enough to make a move to first base and make that permanent. So he's going to really have to catch essentially to keep climbing the system. So there's more intrigue here than just Vlad and Bo, but I mean, Vlad and Bo alone are going to be what grabs your attention anytime you're in an Eastern League ballpark to start the season.
Kelsie, what about you?
Well, I did pick New Hampshire for our most interesting team per organization for the Blue Jays, which was probably given us. So I did pick them. I do agree with that. But trying to mix it up, maybe taking something from Tyler, I'm not sure. But I picked Lancaster. First, I was looking at that Asheville led the Sally League last year in homers and RBI, or obviously RBIs, and hits. And I was just thinking that, if they do well at that level, they'll probably do even better in the California League. And you have a few guys who are coming back from injury, like Colton Welker, who hit 350 with Asheville. Then you got Tyler Nevin, who was coming back from wrist injury. Forrest Wall is healthy after dislocating his shoulder. And then you also got Willie Abreu bringing the speed, and then Vince Fernandez was their best power hitter last year at Asheville. So I feel like they'll all come together for Lancaster. Plus you have Fred Ocasio, fund manager. I mean, he managed Russell Wilson in baseball. So yeah, friend of the site, friend of Russell Wilson. I think they'll do well this year.
That is a good pick. I similarly kind of went to a team that was terrific last year, and a lot of those guys moving up to the next level. And I'm going to go with the Daytona Tortugas in the Florida State League in the Cincinnati Reds organization. They've got Taylor Trammell, outfield prospect, Tyler Stevenson, a catching prospect who was back and healthy this year. 2 years ago was injured. Last year was injured. He's played a decent amount, but still kind of we're waiting to see a full season from Tyler Stevenson. TJ Friedel, friend of the podcast, is going to be on that roster as well. There's some really interesting pieces there. The other person who should be there is Jose Siri. Now, he was not listed on the opening day roster. He was part of the reason why I chose that team, because 4 of those guys starting every day gives you a pretty intriguing lineup. But Siri injured a thumb ligament after hitting an outfield wall during a spring training game. Hasn't played since, so he's not going to be there on opening day, but presumably will be with the Tortugas when he gets his season started. So the Reds, I don't know, man. I've been very into the Red system as of late, and of course we're going to talk with Nick Senzel coming up here in a little bit. There are a lot of fun pieces in that organization. So the fact that we didn't all go 4 for 4 on New Hampshire, I feel like is an accomplishment here. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess I have to be the really obvious person, but at least it got said by somebody. But
yeah, it had to by somebody.
You said you're really deep into the Red system lately. You know who's not deep into the Red system lately?
Joe
that
McCarthy.
Is correct.
Good callback. Good callback. All right, category number 2. We're going with most interesting rotation. So this is just starting pitchers, of course. Josh, who you got?
In the interest of picking somebody outside of the Atlanta system, have gone with AA Birmingham. Alec Hansen won't be there right away, but he'll be there pretty soon. Which him alone is something. But then they've got Jordan Stevens and Spencer Adams and Ian Clark and AJ Puckett all there also.
Pretty good. Sam, fire away.
Yeah, again, I guess I will be the person who picks what feels obvious and what somebody has to say. Although Kelsie, again, is making gestations towards me and saying, no, I got that covered too. I'm going to say the Braves at AAA Gwinnett. I'll throw in another one after this, but Mike Soroka is probably going to be getting the year there. Colby Allard is a potential candidate to start the year in Gwinnett as well. Both guys were, like Bo and Vlad last year, were super young for their level. They skipped Class A advance, moved up straight to AA. Were healthy the entire season. Don't really have much else to prove at the AA level with Mississippi, so they should be getting pushed to Gwinnett. I know a lot of people really like Soroka based out of the spring. They really kind of see him, at least Braves fans do, as like the pitching version of Acuna, a guy who could lead that rotation someday. So to see him one step away, especially at his age, is really exciting. But it's not just those two guys. Max Fried is also probably going to be there to start the year. He's coming off a really strong Arizona Fall League. He got a little bit of major league time last year, but they want to see him round out the profile. Luis Gohara, he suffered an ankle injury. He was looking like a very strong candidate to crack the Atlanta rotation to begin the year. So he'll be in Gwinnett probably in a couple of weeks' time. Those are 4 prospects who are going to be there, but you've already got like Matt Whistler, Lucas Sims, Aaron Blair, all these guys who used to be top prospects who, the Braves aren't necessarily ready to give up as starting pitchers. How are they going to kind of work into this mix? It'll be really interesting. So they have the young guys. They have the guys who are kind of quad A players at this point, but at one point had the talent to be major league pitchers. So just kind of throwing all that together should make that a really impressive rotation. I'm just going to throw out one more, which is the AA Erie rotation in the Tiger system. They're going to be featuring Bo Burrows, Kyle Funkhauser, Sandy Baez, Spencer Turnbull, and Tyler Alexander, which included in that list are the number 4, 6, 19, and 20 prospects in a Tiger system that, as we've said, is pretty loaded with arms. Franklin Perez was supposed to start out the year there. It hasn't worked out that way. He's got a right lat strain that's going to hold him out for about 12 weeks. So keep an eye on that Erie rotation, the Gwinnett rotation that I think we all think it could be very special start of the year in the IL.
Yeah.
The couple of teams that have dominated the last 2 rankings for for pitchers, rather, the Braves and the White Sox. So you kind of get an idea why. Kelsie, who you got?
I did the opposite of what I said in the last round, and I did pick the obvious choice because, sometimes you just need to pick who's actually good, who's the best one. So I did pick the Stripers, the newly named Stripers. But I will add to Sam, obviously he did mention they have, 3 of the Braves' top pitching prospects, which means they have 3 of baseball's top pitching prospects. But I will add that they also have Jesse Biddle, who I always find is such an interesting story. He was a first-round pick in 2010 for the Phillies, and he had whooping cough and I feel like a few other problems, and then the Phillies let him go. And now he's in the Brave system, and last year he was back in AA, which a lot of players could have just given up at that point, but he actually did pretty well. He only had a 2.90 ERA in 50 innings or so. So I think that he will be an interesting part of that lineup. Like Sam said, there's a lot of veteran presence there, and I think Jesse Biddle could be a big part of that.
Was Biddle literally struck by lightning at one point?
That sounds right. I feel like everything has
But-
happened to him.
No, I don't think it was that.
I don't
It
think he was
something
struck by
really
lightning.
bizarre.
There was like a concussion issue that was weather related,
That's true.
I believe. But yeah, no, he had a string of bad injury history during
A
at the end of
hail
his time.
incident.
Hail.
There was
That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was hit in the
Yep.
head by hail. Yeah, which sounds like something out of a sitcom, but that actually did
It
happen.
sounds like something that would come out of a Dwayne Johnson movie, to be honest with you.
You turned
Kevin Hart
Dwayne
would
Johnson
be the one
into
to get
Kevin
hit.
Hart.
Yeah. Oh man,
Josh,
I think we
call
just
your
came up
Hollywood.
with $1 billion idea.
Freaky Sunday, we'll call it.
I went with a team that's kind of more positioned as part of a larger theme in their system, and I went with AA San Antonio, and they've really only got two guys that jump right out at you on the opening day roster, and that's Cal Quantrill and Logan Allen, the right-hander and left-hander, who are going to be the headliners for that rotation. But behind them, there's a lot coming up in that San Diego system that I think is really fascinating to watch. And I talked to some player evaluators, some scouts down in Arizona, who said that Mackenzie Gore looks as good as any pitching prospect in baseball has looked for the last 5 years or so. That San Antonio rotation could also see contributions from guys like Adrian Morejon this year. Josh and I got a chance to watch him throw in a minor league game on the backfields at the Peoria complex against Mariners minor leaguers. He's a really exciting talent, still super young. Just turned 19 back in February. Michel Baez is another one who pitched a Class A last year, so he'll be a Class A advance this year to get things started. Even somebody like Anderson Espinoza, who obviously missed all of last season, by the end of 2018, we could see him back. I think it would be a shock if we saw him up somewhere like San Antonio. But the point of this all being, you look at somebody like Cal Quantrill, you look at somebody like Logan Allen, they're like the tip of the spear of a lot of really, really good stuff that's coming on in that system. So San Antonio, I think, is going to be a team to watch throughout this year.
Yeah,
And
that is a good point.
Rotations. Go ahead.
Just that we should make while we're going through some of these is that we're talking about opening day and all that kind of stuff, but when we're looking back at teams at the end of the year, which is one of the most fun things about doing this podcast is trying to predict forward. Like it's totally fine to think so and so is going to be up at a level, and that's going to make that team more interesting as the season kind of goes along. It's not just injuries; it's promotional potential and all that kind of stuff. So just something to keep in mind.
The most interesting, most exciting team, Josh. Who was your pick?
Well, emphasis on interesting. I have picked the Chattanooga Lookouts, the AA affiliate of the Twins, largely because both Nick Gordon and Steven Gonsalves are headed back there after they both, from an outsider perspective, just kind of looking at numbers and just kind of remembering conversations that we've had and things we might have read, they both seem to do what they could do at that level, and they're both headed back there. So I think it's going to be interesting to see kind of how long they stay there, and what it is that they can improve. And probably we'll get the chance. Somebody on our staff will get the chance fairly early in the season to talk to one of them about what they hope to accomplish back at that level. And I also think so. They also have Cole Stewart headed to Chattanooga, and I think he's an interesting case. Just a guy who has not, so far as a pro, really had the results that I think a lot of people expected him to have when he was drafted. And there's still last year there was talk about him quitting baseball and going back to football. So I think that's another thing that makes that an interesting team.
I like it. Sam?
So I'm going to kind of roll everything I said about Gwinnett in the rotation and just add that in the lineup they have Ronald Acuna Jr. and just say that's going to make for a very, very interesting team and say that's kind of 1A on this. But number one, I think I'm going to stay in that same league. And Josh, you mentioned them earlier, the Durham Bulls. This is a team that's basically full of guys who have proved everything there is to prove at AAA. Kind of what you talked about with Chattanooga, Willie Adames, Jake Bowers. Talking to both of them at the AAA National Championship game that Kelsie and I were at last year, or talking to people around the organization, their managers, their coaches. It sounded like they started the year saying, "Okay, I'm at AAA. I'm close enough to the majors. I'm going to get the call any second now because everybody knows how talented I am. And they kind of had to be humbled in that way. And what it ended up resulting in was a AAA national championship and the team doing incredibly well. Obviously, this would be more interesting as an entire roster if Brent Honeywell wasn't missing the entire season with Tommy John surgery. But to add Christian Arroyo to that mix, to kind of add Anthony Banda to that mix, this is a team that's built full of guys who already have some level of success at AAA, some of which, like Arroyo, already has major league time. And just the Rays right now are kind of in a state where nobody knows exactly what they're going to be in the majors, and I think that could kind of lead to some spots for some of these guys to get chances. Or if even the Rays don't know exactly what they want in the majors, Adames and Bowers could be down there longer than we expect, or Arroyo could be down there longer than we expect. So keeping an eye on how they're kind of working with these guys and what they kind of took from last year, from that humbling experience, and how that led to success, how they can kind of project that forward into 2018. I'll be keeping a close eye on AAA Durham, I think. But between Durham and Gwinnett, I think that IL league, which unfortunately doesn't start mostly until Friday, most of the teams have Thursday off, which is too bad. But starting on Friday, that IL, it's just loaded with prospects to watch.
Kelsie, fire away.
I am going to stay in the International League and go with the Yankees affiliate Scranton. I mean, every minor league team has to deal with call-ups and sending people down and changing your roster and losing chemistry and all that stuff, and that's especially true in AAA. But I feel like Scranton has already lost two guys. With like Billy McKinney went up and then got hurt. Andujar went up, so they already have like two of their big guys are gone. And so I always find that the teams that win the AAA National Championship are the ones who deal with that the best, with the up and down and the losing guys to the majors, even though, of course, that's the ultimate goal. But then aside all of that, you got Glaber, who will be there for however long or however short, Chance Adams, Luis Sessa, Mike Ford. Frazier's on the DL, but you got to imagine he'll start there before he goes back to New York. And then I feel like in the next month or so, we'll have Justice Sheffield, Dylan Tate, Thairo Estrada. I think Florial will get up there too. Domingo Acevedo. Plus, they got Trace Thompson today from the Dodgers, which I just saw that before hopping on this, and he's been sent to Scranton. So I think that it'll be really interesting to see how Scranton handles that all, and all the up and down, and all these talented guys that they're about to lose, but then they'll get new talented guys pretty quickly.
In kind of a similar vein to that, the relationship between a AAA team and the Major League team, I went with the other AAA league in the Fresno Grizzlies, the world champion Houston Astros, who have graduated so much talent over the last several years to the Major Leagues. So much of that has gone through Fresno, and Fresno, unlike what we saw with the Chicago Cubs and with the Kansas City Royals in recent years, the Astro system is still pretty well loaded, and there's a lot of really interesting pieces on that roster. Pitching staff-wise, Rogelio Armenteros, they're very, very high on him, and he really, toward the end of last season, started to come on. Francis Martes is back there. David Paulino, who as of right now is not listed with a jersey number on the Fresno Grizzlies site. I don't know if that means anything, if he's inactive to start the year for one reason or another, or it could just be that they don't yet have a jersey number assigned to him. But they have a ranked catcher on that roster in Garrett Stubbs. And, of course, offensively, you get Kyle Tucker, who I think by the end of the year is going to be the top prospect in that system if he hasn't already eclipsed his prospect status by making it to the big leagues. But in addition to Kyle Tucker, you've got all these other pieces, guys who are maybe even more than quad A players, but haven't been able to stick in the major leagues just because of how good the Astros are. But Tony Kemp, A.J. Reed, Tyler White, John Kemmer, these names that we've been talking about for a while that are just really good players. The relationship between this roster and the one in Houston, I'm going to be fascinated to watch this year because there's still so much there for that organization to be able to draw on from Fresno. So all four of us going AAA teams for most interesting team.
Yeah, I think part of that is just the notion of AAA is that a lot of these guys have proven themselves for a while now, and we've gotten to see what their potential could be. Sometimes trying to say a Class A or a Class A advanced team is most interesting.
True.
It's just a lot of questions more than it is answers. In AAA, you've got a lot of answers. Now the next question is, how do they do in the majors, which is something we're always asking, but as minor league writers, it's not exactly our focus. So yeah, I think that sometimes works out, but otherwise, I think this is still a very interesting year for AAA. It's not just this is something we do every year. It's just the way the talent is kind of going, and guys are getting pushed, like Acuna, like Kyle Tucker, getting pushed in their early 20s to the minors' highest level. Kind of says something about the state of the sport we're in right now.
My interesting team was AA.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Josh, we don't really pay attention to you. You're the one on the phone, so it's like you don't kind.
You're on the phone. Also, in fairness to you, part of why it was interesting was that they seem to have AAA kind of guys there.
Okay, good. Whew. Okay. I zoned out for a while. I probably just heard you say AAA, and then I was like, oh, man, all of us AAA. Breakout prospect. Josh, who's your breakout prospect to watch in 2018?
Well, I'm going to say 2 names. I think that...
I only get one.
Oh.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Well, I'm on the phone. I can do anything. You can't stop me. So I think that Lewis Robert is a guy that everybody's going to be talking about midsummer. I think, I'll just leave that at that for him. He's of the Chicago White Sox. And I think that in the Dodgers system, Gavin Lux is poised to have a year that really raises his stock quite a bit. He's with Rancho Cucamonga in the Cal League, which I think for one thing he'll hit some home runs there where he's probably really not going to be a huge home run guy, but he could hit like maybe 15 or 20 in the Cal League, which those will be a lot of those will be reasonable doubles later on, of which he'll have plenty anyway. He does hit the ball in the gap. He's got really good speed, and the reason I'm kind of picking him as a breakout is because last year you look at his year, and I think at first you want to say he didn't have a good first full year, that he struggled. In the Midwest League, he hit 244, but he hit pretty miserably in a couple of months in the beginning of the season, and then really turned it around toward the end. And from some conversations I had at Camelback, it seemed like he, even after the end of the season, through the off season and into spring camp, has just continued to really grow as a player and find himself.
So the good thing about Josh going first is he kind of softens the ground for me to allows me to have 2 picks, really. And
what did we just say? You only
I know.
One.
Well, rules broken, meant to be, all that stuff. So the first one, they're both outfielders. I'll go through them very quickly. One is Christian Pache, who it's very rare that we talk to a coach or an exec or somebody about a player and they can honestly stare you in the face and say, this person is the best at this skill in the minor leagues. Christian Pache, I've read about it. I've seen it. I've talked to people about it. He is the best center fielder in the minor leagues. There are all sorts of ways we could break it down statistically. You watch him, he covers a lot of ground. His roots are fantastic. So when you have a loud tool like that, it's always going to grab attention. But what's kind of held him back so far is that he's been kind of an okay hitter with very little power. He hit 281 with a 679 OPS, no home runs last year in 119 games at Class A Rome. What does he do this year in one game exhibition? It was kind of like a Braves Futures game at their new park, or the second year of their new park down there at Atlanta. He hits 2 home runs. There's a guy who's never homered before in a minor league game. He hits 2 home runs in a major league park. They're trying to change some launch angle stuff with him, really work on getting the ball in the air, making that a focus. I'll be interested to see how that happens. But if he becomes like a 10, 15 home run guy, it's continues to be kind of close to 300 hitter with that special defense. He's a top 50 prospect by the end of the year. So he's my one pick. The other one I'll kind of mention very quickly. I did a tool shed on him a couple months back this offseason was Brandon Marsh in the Angel system. Obviously, this is an Angel system that's on the up and up, especially when it comes to outfield prospects. although Jahmai Jones might be moving to the infield now. He's listed as a second baseman, which is really interesting. We'll save that for another day. But Brandon Marsh was a second-round pick in 2016, didn't really play at all because of a back issue that they discovered in his physical. Went to rookie-level Orem last year and absolutely tore it up, hit 350 with a 944 OPS, 4 home runs, 10 steals. Just all the tools are there, and you talk to him, and he's confident in that, and he knows that, and he can't wait to show that over a first full season. He'll get the chance to do that this year at Burlington. He'll be playing in an outfield with Joe Adell, their first-round pick from last year, and Torrey Hunter Jr., who's just going to grab attention because of his name. But I think a lot of people are going to go to that Burlington roster to kind of see Adell and maybe get a chance to see a Torrey Hunter Jr., and they're going to come away really surprised by how good Marsh is, how loud his tools are all around when it comes to all 5 of the tools. So wouldn't be surprised if he can continue to be a plus hitter with some really good speed. He could be another top 100 option in that Angel system that is already growing, in the last couple of months alone.
All right, I'm going to go back to New Hampshire that we mentioned earlier, but I'm going to go to a pitcher in Jordan Romano. And we talk a lot about Vlad and Bo, and obviously they're going to draw a lot of eyes. And I think that Jordan Romano is going to benefit from that. He's going to get some of those eyes drawn to him. I mean, he had a 3.39 ERA last year in Dunedin. And I think he was second in the Blue Jays organization with 130 strikeouts. I'm sure that will just continue to grow. And only 54 walks, though his control has always been his biggest issue. The Blue Jays are pretty high on him, his work ethic. They love his makeup. I think he'll, like I said, continue to do well. And especially when you have this lineup, we keep talking about this New Hampshire lineup backing you up. Pitchers always say it's easier to pitch when you're winning, especially by a lot. So I think he will definitely do well and break out from his number 27 post.
Well, in the theme of taking 2, I'm going to give you 2
No!
names as well.
Oh, come on!
Come on, Tyler, be strong.
No, the first name that came to mind, the second one that came to mind, actually just did so because of something that Josh said. So I guess I'll just cover that one first. But when Josh and I were at White Sox camp, Luis Alexander Basabe was very discussed, very talked about how talented he really is. Last year was somewhat limited, but switch hitter, a guy who's really grown into his body. He's only 21 years old. This year it really seems like he's got the potential to break out for some big things. My other one is a name that Kelsie mentioned earlier, and that's Colton Welker, the third base prospect in the Rockies organization. And you could pick one of any number of guys on that Lancaster roster because they're going to, Coors Light, the most hitter-friendly ballpark in all minor league baseball, and so they're going to be crushing homers there, whether it's him, whether it's Tyler Nevin, whatever. But Colton Welker's hit tool is just so advanced. He has the ability to get the barrel on the ball so often. When you do that in Lancaster, it turns into loud base hits or home runs more often than anywhere else. So I feel like Colton Welker, who the Rockies are confident in his glove. The issue, of course, is that Colorado right now is pretty set at third base with Nolan Arenado, depending on how that goes contract-wise going forward. So will the Rockies do with Colton Welker like they've done with some other guys in the system, whether it was Ryan McMahon learning a couple of positions, Brendan Rodgers, who was still learning a couple of positions? Will Colton Welker be asked to do other things as well? The other guy he would be sharing time with at third base is Tyler Nevin. He's more than likely going to get almost all the first base time on that roster. So somebody who the conditions, in addition to just where he is in his development, the conditions of his assignment are very beneficial for a breakout year for Colton Welker as well. The major league picture, we don't get to talk about a ton, but we do in this context, as Sam and I talked last week, some players that may have big impacts on their rosters going forward. What we're going to give you our projections for American League and National League Rookies of the Year. Josh, take it away.
Well, so last year, Sam and I both went with the what we considered the obvious picks, and neither of us. I mean, they were the same picks, so we weren't right. So this year, I'm getting a little funky, if I may.
If I may, that's definitely a phrase I always look forward to Josh Jackson saying. I'm going to get funky, if I may. Go get funky, Josh.
As you start seeing the Josh House line.
Yeah.
I'm picking Francisco Mejia in the American League. Potential Cleveland Indian. And let me ask you this: Did anybody else, if am I allowed to do this? Did anybody else pick today's esteemed podcast guest as the NL Rookie of the Year?
No, which is a bad thing to
No.
admit. No,
There's
Yeah.
my NL Rookie of the Year pick.
Wow. Okay.
Have we said who we're talking
pretty
to
good.
today?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Thanks for paying attention, Sam.
Okay, you didn't even know Josh picked the Double-A team, so.
Sam, AL and NL Rookies of the Year.
I'm
Who
already
you
on
got?
record of saying this. Ohtani in the AL and Acuna in the NL. You would think I would be the one to learn from taking chalk, but I'm just going to stick with that. I think we kind of saw Ohtani in his first start with the Angels. I think he had half a dozen strikeouts, something like that. All of his pitches looked really, really on. It's just about learning major league hitting, and but it just kind of waved away all the issues with the spring training numbers where everybody's like, oh, he's going to be a bust. He's going to be a bust. No, those pitches that he has are real major league plus pitches right now. It's just all the other parts of the game he's got to learn, and that's going to come with starts, with outings, with innings, all of that kind of stuff. So not really worried about him. Acuna, we haven't seen yet play in the regular season because Gwinnett hasn't started their season, but there is a major league place waiting for him. The Braves want to give it to him. They're going to let him do what he does. He's going to get plenty of time to build a Rookie of the Year case when they do eventually call him up. And he's got everything there to make it happen and hit the ground running. So I'm hedging my bets. There's nothing sexy here, but I'm going Ohtani and Acuna in the AL and NL.
Well, on that note, I will go with Chance Sisco of the Orioles and Lewis Brinson of the Marlins. They're very MILB friendly. We definitely have written about them over and over again for the past couple of years. And I like both of their bats. Chance, actually both of them got a taste of the majors last year, which I think tends to help with these Rookie of the Year candidates. Oftentimes they are someone who has been there before and then comes back and gets comfortable. Not always, of course, but and I mean, I know the season's like 3 or 4 days old, but they've already both done well. They're not nervous. They're not anxious. Chance definitely needs to work on his defense, but I think his bat will definitely carry him. And then Lewis Brinson, I could see him being one of like the big faces of the Marlins this year and maybe for a while. Like I think that his jersey will be the one that gets sold out the most.
One of the only faces of the Marlins this year too, which helps. Sorry,
Wow,
Marlins fans.
Tyler.
I didn't mean it. Actually, no, I was going to go with Lewis Brinson, too, in the National League, so I'm going to change it up. On the American League side, I feel like friend of the podcast, Anthony Alford, at some point has to catch a break. He's going to start the season on the disabled list with what I believe is a hamstring strain. But at some point, that kid is so talented and so the dimensions to his game are so varied. He can do everything, and if he gets healthy and can stay healthy, I really, really think he's the type of guy you can build an organization around. So that being the guy in the American League leads me to a National League pick that I guess comes as a surprise to all of us because I said no a moment ago, but since Lewis Brinson got picked, I'm going to go with this week's podcast guest, Nick Senzel.
Get out of here.
I was on that bandwagon from the beginning.
It's a good thing we recorded the interview already, so you couldn't have patted yourself on the back and just say, "Oh, by the way, Nick."
By the way, Nick, just so you know, Nick Senzel. That's gonna be it. That's the call. The Joe Bauman Home Run Award is given annually to the prospect with the most home runs in all of minor league baseball. Josh, who is your pick?
I've got a wild one just for you, Tyler.
Oh man,
Casey Golden.
Interesting. Okay, give me your rationale. Give me your reason.
I will not. Yeah.
How dare you? He's playing in a bandbox.
That's
as we know. Casey Golden, outfield prospect, Colorado Rockies organization. He's with Asheville, one of the smaller ballparks, very hitter friendly in the South Atlantic.
Yeah,
that's certainly one of the factors that led me there. He also, he hit 20 home runs in his only 54 professional games. That seems like that's a
quite
lot of home runs. I think, and that was in Grand Junction in the Pioneer League. I don't think he's gonna keep that clip up exactly, but I expect him to certainly be among the most homerist minor leaguers this year.
That's an interesting pick. That's a deep cut kind of pick.
That's one of those picks that actually ends up being right in a weird way. Like,
yeah, could very well be.
Yeah. I'm again going to kind of I want to mention two very quickly.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, there's a pattern going on right now in the Bowman Award. So 3 years ago, the winner was AJ Reed. 2 years ago, the winner was Dylan Cousins. Last year, the winner was AJ Reed. This year's winner will be Dylan Cousins. Why do I think that? Because he's repeating this year at AAA Lehigh Valley. It would help his case so much here if he was starting out at AA Reading, but Phillies aren't going to send him down to win a home run award. But 2 years ago, he hit 40 home runs, spending the entire year at Reading. Last year, he hit 27 home runs at Lehigh Valley. He's a guy who's right there on the cusp. He's on the 40-man, so they could call him up at any point. I realize that kind of hurt my case here. But somebody who's already seen the level, who's already done, okay there. He has some questions with his hit tool. Guys are able to take advantage of kind of his big frame, and he doesn't do a great job of adjusting to that. But if he takes what he learned last year from the International League and puts it forward to this year, it's not really that hard to see him finishing the year with 35 home runs. Should the Phillies kind of treat him like the Astros treated AJ Reed? The Astros just couldn't find a spot for Reed in the major league roster. They had some better options at first base. I think the Phillies kind of have some better options in the outfield than Cousins. Could be he has a second straight full year of AAA ball, and he's got the power to really put up 35 plus home runs there if he learns from that. The other one I'm going to sneak in here is DJ Peters, a guy who hit 27 home runs last year at Class A Advanced Rancho Cucamonga. It's not going to help him that he's getting out of the Cal League. I get that. But he's somebody who I could see if he does really well to start the year at AA Tulsa, he gets the bump to AAA Oklahoma City by the second half. Then all of a sudden he's playing in the PCL. So real launching pads in that league. Again, he's got 35 to 40 home run potential in the minors at the very least. So
I like that
Cousins
pick,
or Peters. I knew you would, Josh. I'm kind of surprised you didn't take him.
The Texas League has some parks that will do well for him, and he saw some of that level last year in the playoffs too.
Yeah, so that's what I got. Cousins or Peters.
All right. I always think that this category is the hardest because obviously you want to pick someone who's going to be really good, but obviously not so good that they get called up and then they ruin everything.
Not ruin everything for us.
Okay, yes. I'm sorry. Not for their career and their dreams and their family, etc., but for us.
What about the Bauman Award?
Exactly. So like Josh, I decided to go outside of the box, and I picked Emmanuel Tapia of the Indians organization. Last year, he hit 29 home runs. I think he kind of surprised a lot of people, but he did that with Lake County. I think that he'll continue to do that with Lynchburg this year in the Carolina League. He's a left-handed hitter from the Dominican. And again, I think he'll do well, but not well enough to go all the way from high A to the major. So I feel good he's getting up there.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that nobody picked. I had two guys in mind, and I was going to go with the one who was not picked among them, but neither one of them was picked. Nobody picked Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Yeah.
Nobody picked Eloy. Nobody picked Eloy Jimenez.
Yeah.
So I'm going Eloy. Eloy had 22 home runs last year, or 19 home runs last year between three different stops. He had 8 in Myrtle Beach when he was still in the Cubs organization. Then he switches over to Winston-Salem, hits 8 there in 13 fewer games, 7 in Birmingham after he makes a jump up to AA. The reason why I think Eloy is the pick is he's going to play in a little bit more favorable weather out of the gate than we're going to see in the Eastern League for Vlad. But kind of surprised that nobody went with any of those guys. Now, Eloy is not going to be healthy right away. If he gets back in a relatively short span of time, then I think he's not going to be any worse in chasing down the Bauman Award, worse for the wear. But he's got a pec injury right now, a mild left pectoral strain, so he's going to be held out of action at the start of the minor league season. But I mean, if he's back in a week to 2 weeks, Eloy can make up ground in a power race in like 3 at bats.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I'm going to do something I rarely do on this podcast, which is speak out of both sides of my mouth. But
Mr. I'm going to give you 2 names.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing with Eloy is that Eloy is so good that if he gets to like 20 home runs by the All-Star break, by the Major League All-Star break, the White Sox are going to want him in the majors. Like they're going to want him to bring him up.
That's the issue with Vlad too.
Yeah, which I think
Vlad could be the same
way.
Right,
for sure, which kind of hurts his case here to everything what Kelsie said about trying to find somebody in the lower minors to kind of win this out.
Which is why also I think I didn't make this pick because it's not at all a sexy pick, but I think AJ Reed has a very realistic chance of doing it again because there's no place for him right now in the majors, and he obviously has shown that he does nothing but crush AAA pitching. But if you can't find a spot for him to stick on the Astros roster, combined over the last couple of seasons, he had 15 home runs in Fresno back in 2016 when he was getting a little bit more of a look in Houston. Last year, 34 home runs. So he's got 49 homers there over the span of 197 games. Like, I just don't really see him sticking at the major league level. I could be different. I mean, maybe at some point AJ Reed gets dealt, the Astros get something back for him, and he finds himself in the major leagues, and we're not having this conversation. But if we're picking realistically, I think there's a very realistic chance that AJ Reed is once more the guy.
Yeah, and let me just say this one other point about Eloy, about why he could end up winning it. Because if he does really well when he gets back to Birmingham after he comes back from the injury, he's going to be playing in AAA Charlotte, which Charlotte has basically like a PCL park in the International League.
Yes, it does.
That place is built for home runs, built for dingers. So somebody like him, he could easily put up 15, 20 in just half a season there as his home park. So I don't know. There's an equation going on there, and that's kind of why I stayed away from it. But yeah, there could be a possibility that Eloy gets called up to the White Sox by mid-August, and he actually has the Bowman Award sewed up by then too.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, that's the highlight of everybody's year, obviously, is who wins the Bowman Award.
The Bowman Award watch from the majors, yeah.
by our just strict breakdown of this conversation. By the way, if I die during this podcast, I can smell. I'm assuming that it's a neighbor cooking, but I smell some type of smoke. So if my house explodes. It was a joy recording this podcast with you and to all of you listening.
Wow, Tyler, way to be smart.
If this podcast is up, it's because you survived.
Right.
So
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point. If you're listening to this podcast, chances are I'm still around.
It's not too late.
All right, our last category for the four of us, the top overall prospect in baseball going into opening day of 2019 will be Josh.
Actually, before Josh goes, can I just review who we all said last year, since it is now opening day 2018? So none of us predicted that Shohei Ohtani was coming stateside. I don't think.
I can't believe you, Tyler. You know Japanese baseball. What are you doing?
Well, and I don't think any of us realized, or at least I didn't realize, that he was technically going to be considered a prospect when he came over. I mean, I think that's what kind of threw me. The dude's 23 years old. He's been a professional baseball player 7 years. So I think that kind of threw us all off. But yes, the point is.
So you can't knock us for that. And Ronald Acuna last year was not. I think he was actually my pick for breakout prospect of the year. So just going to throw that out there. But I did not pick him for top overall prospect.
Did he have a good year?
He did.
Yeah, we haven't heard that from you.
I know.
Sam.
Sources tell me he had a good year, but I'm working to confirm.
Oh,
it's in your head.
Yeah.
Huh.
So Kelsie and Tyler, they had Gleyber Torres, which is pretty good. He's number 5 right now.
Yeah, he was one.
He was one at one point.
At the end of last season, and I was very proud of that.
But not playing half a season hurt him out on that point.
It played into my advantage because people wanted him to go to New York, so he would have lost it. So thank you, Gleyber.
Okay, so there's that. Josh, you had Eloy, who was number 4. So again, pretty good. And I had Victor Robles, who was number 6. So I feel like we didn't do bad.
We all made it.
The point is, we're pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty, when you remove Ohtani from the conversation, that means all of our guys fit in the top 5.
Right.
It's almost as if
solid.
we know minor league baseball for a living.
Well,
it's almost as if we've been paid to do this for several years.
Yeah, well,
now.
We still have to make our predictions for 2019.
Yeah,
so before we
do
pumping our own tires here.
All right,
yeah, Josh, go for it.
Well, so I'm looking at a list of 3 names. I'm only going to say one.
Thank you.
Joe McCarthy.
And I'm going to try to make it. Hold on. I'm going to go with Royce Lewis.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting. That is a very young pick. Royce Lewis, the top overall selection last year.
want to back that up?
Everybody's just got so quiet, waiting with bated breath for Josh to explain.
Oh.
Royce Lewis, by the way, right now is number 20.
Yeah, so it is his first full year, which that gives any prospect kind of a real chance to make a big leap forward or backward, but hopefully forward in this case, in terms of just how the people who put together these kinds of lists think about prospects and look at prospects. And I think he could have I mean, there's no reason that he won't have a sensational year that I'm aware of. And, also, like I said, I was looking at 3 names, and he seemed like maybe the wildest of those picks, and that is part of what went into it, but there's also like some electricity there. There's some excitement there that had I said one of the other 2 names, like maybe they're not poised to maybe do as much as Lewis.
There's more room for growth for Lewis.
That's right, and he's already pretty highly ranked.
Okay. Interesting. So Josh is going for a number 20 to a number 1 jump with Royce Lewis. Sam.
That's pretty fair. Again, I'm going to go with the one that probably many of you at home were thinking about when we started this conversation. I'm going to go with Vlad Jr. And the only reason why that might be even somewhat of a take, I guess, by take standards, is that if he does really well this year, a lot of people would love to see him in the majors by August or September. And there's the potential, if that happens, that he doesn't have prospect status by opening day 2019. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe he gets a taste by the end of the year. But again, he's going to be 19 for all of the 2018 season. They're not really in a rush to have him compete with Josh Donaldson or try to move him across the diamond to first base or put him back in a corner outfield spot, throw all these things at him. They want him building on last year. But why I think he could keep where he is, obviously everybody talks about the top of the line hit tool with him and getting him, another year of full season pitching. If it's possible for somebody to top a 323 average, I think Vlad could do that. But beyond that, he's still growing into his power. He's still growing into his approach. So 13 home runs last year feels pretty low for him. I feel like a 20-25 home run season is definitely within reach for him, even starting out the year at AA, or if he even reaches AAA. So if he continues doing what he's doing against upper level pitching, there's no reason why, he can't be a major leaguer at the end of the year. But, if he just continues on this path, he's definitely going to be in the conversation for best young talent in the game. I couldn't be more excited to see what he does in what I'm kind of calling year 2. It's full year 2. He's played in the minors before last year. But I just don't think he's going to get quite there enough for Major League time to erase his prospect status, which I think, once Ohtani's out of the picture, which will happen soon, once Acuna's out of the picture, which will happen, May or June, he's going to rise to number 1 in the prospect rankings anyways. But I don't see anything that's going to knock him off of that by 12 months from now.
Yeah, I agree with Sam. I just don't see how anyone can be higher than Vladimir Guerrero next year. He has an 80 grade hit tool, which you don't see often. Whenever I see on Pipeline an 80, like even a 70 is exciting. So you see an 80, you're like, wow, that's amazing. And even his worst tool that people say is defense. He's been working on that a lot. Gil Kim, the director of player development for the Blue Jays, really likes the way that Guerrero has improved his footwork this offseason. So he's just going to keep getting better and better. Like Sam said, of course, the contrarian in my mind is like, well, what if Ohtani experiment goes sour and he needs Tommy John in a month and then he's still around? But at that point, then maybe it'll be like Glaber and they'll lower him in the rankings because of that.
But you also don't want to predict injuries.
I don't want to predict injuries, but I'm also not going to be blindsided by them.
Yeah,
so
right.
Yes, because anything can happen. This is baseball. That's why I don't get excited. I mean, yes, I get excited about Vladimir Guerrero, and clearly everyone else does. I can't hear enough about him. Other people can't talk enough about him, so I just can't imagine anyone being higher than him.
Then I'm going to make not quite as bold a selection as Josh did, but I'm going to go a little bit further down the list, and I'm going to pick my prospect crush, Fernando Tatis Jr., the San Diego Padres organization, who is ticketed for AA San Antonio, and, a shortstop, a lot of tools. Josh, by the way, I figured out why he was so subdued that day in re-listening to the interview. Went and interviewed Fernando on the backfields of Peoria and walked away and told Josh, he just kind of seemed down. But he said, and I didn't even catch this when I first talked to him, he was sick. So now we know.
Oh.
So now it all makes sense. But Fernando Tatis Jr. is just, there's something about the gravity that he brings when he's on the field and how it seems to be something that other guys are there to rally around. I like a prospect like that reaching the upper levels of the minors for the first time and being the focal point guy, because I feel like having a father who's in the major leagues, being raised, in major league clubhouses, knowing what it takes to be successful at this level, I feel like he's going to continue to improve. And if we've seen a jump like we've seen over the last couple of years from him continue, then I'm going to say playing a valuable position like shortstop with all the tools that he brings, Fernando Tatis Jr., 2019 opening day number 1.
Yeah,
those are the other two names on my list, so glad I went with Lewis.
Oh, wow. Jeez, there you go. Everything you were saying about having a major league father and growing up in clubhouses and all that kind of stuff. Who else that can be transferred to?
But I didn't want to take the easiest pick in the world. If I wanted to take the easiest,
that's
pick,
fine.
Sam.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to be right, Tyler.
Yeah.
That's the point of this.
Well, it didn't work out for any of us last year, so I guess we'll see how smart we all are.
Moment.
So that'll do it. That's that's the entirety of our discussion roundtable topics for this year for 2018. And send us your suggestions for all of these. Most interesting lineup, rotation, and team. Biggest breakout prospect, American and National League Rookies of the Year, Joe Bauman Home Run Award winner, and who you think the number 1 overall prospect on opening day of 2019 will be. You can get in touch. Podcast at MILB.com. All of us are on Twitter. If you search our names, we're all out there. And let us know if you think we're crazy, if you think one of our selections is right on. Give us some feedback, and we'll continue the discussion there. But that does it for this year's season preview. Josh, Kelsie, thanks for swinging by as always. And now you're gonna leave me alone with Sam. That's always fun. We'll get to talk about Ronald Acuna for the next 3 hours.
Enjoy that, Tyler.
Set to go for 2018 minor league opening day, and we got prospect assignments all over the place, including in the Cincinnati Reds organization, where we head right now to the Louisville Bats, a AAA affiliate of the Reds, and Reds top prospect Nick Senzel, who joins the show. Nick, how's Kentucky treating you so far?
A little bit of bad weather. We got a tornado watch, so first day here, not so great, but it can only go up.
Exactly. You're starting at the baseline, and now everything is it's all up from here. Well, tell us about you're going to get your first taste of AAA. Last year, fantastic year, obviously, between Class A Advanced and AA, and we'll talk about that as well as this goes along. But, now you're kind of at prospect finishing school, as everybody talks about with AAA, and I know in talking with some Reds people this spring, they're thrilled with where you are in every stage, and the thing that's incorporated next for you is kind of some defensive versatility, and I know during camp you got to work on that a lot. On the major league side and the minor league side. How has the whole process getting ready for 2018 been, where it's kind of everybody knows you can hit, everybody knows you can play third, you played short in college. What's the last step for you now?
Right now, and to start off, spring training was a great big league camp. My first big league camp was a great experience, and it got me acclimated to some of the guys and some of the coaches, and it was an opportunity for me to kind of show them some of the different positions I could play, whether it be short, second. Obviously, I've been playing third on a consistent basis, the past couple of years. So that's where I'm most comfortable. But it was a good opportunity for me to kind of show them that I could handle some other spots, and it was nice to kind of learn those spots. So, if something happens or I can be ready at, any of those 3 spots.
Your hit tool, 70 grade according to MLB Pipeline. You were billed kind of coming into the draft as the best hitter just on pure hitting talent in that year's draft class. But I don't think people get how good you are defensively. You got a 60 grade fielding tool and a 60 grade arm. Does it feel like it's so much easier for baseball people, fans especially, to quantify offensive success statistically? Does it feel like people kind of underestimate what you're able to do defensively? Obviously the Reds know what you're able to do, but elsewhere the talk is always, oh, Nick Senzel, what a hitter, and you're a lot more than that as a baseball player.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how how it's projected, how it's kind of portrayed, that that I'm a hitter first, and then it kind of defense kind of gets lost in the wind a little bit. It's sort of, it's what people want to jump to. I mean, they like people that can hit, and that's what the first thing that that when my name comes up, that instantly comes up. But it's I don't know if it's irritating. It's just sort of because there's a lot of work put in defensively, and there's so many reps, and there's so many just work that I put in defensively, especially this camp where I feel like I've made great strides defensively, and even coming in I felt like I was a little knocked for my defense, but just as long as I feel like I feel comfortable and I feel like I know how to play the position and I can play it to my best ability, then that that's just kind of how I think. It's it kind of gets overlooked a little bit because of my offense, but man, I work extremely hard defensively, and it's a little irritating that it gets overlooked. But as long as I feel like I can go out there and perform at a high level at any of those three spots, that's really all that really matters.
And at what point in the off season, or even going back to last season, did the Reds really approach you with saying, like, we want you to be more than a third baseman, we want to get you some reps back at short or back at second base where you played some in high school? When did that conversation start?
It was kind of all over the place there for a little bit early on in the off season. There was a couple of conversations early on in the off season. Then it started getting more when spring trainings, when I reported in mid-January to go out there a little early. There was continuous talks and communication on where they felt that I needed to, or where they wanted me to work, and the main goal on spring training was left side of the infield and learn how to play shortstop. So and they asked me if they thought I could play short, and I said yeah, and they gave me every opportunity to play short. And obviously third base I've been playing for a couple of years, so I know that position the best. And it was a challenge, and then even going to second base now, going to be playing second base every day, which I have played in the past. But I just think the ultimate goal is to learn those three positions. So if something happens or anything, I could plug right in there. But that's pretty much, when I got into spring training, they said just worry about the left side of the infield, and then when I broke to minor league camp, they said to focus on second base. So it was kind of a little whirlwind, but we were always on the same page. It's just there's so many things that happen in organizations. A lot of stuff going on that they want to make sure that they know the plan for me, and then they relay that to me and express where they feel like they see me playing.
Yeah, and you talk of that plan. You mentioned, they're talking about being an everyday second baseman now, or a little bit more of a full-time second baseman now. Have they given you kind of the breakdown of how much you're going to be playing second, if you're going to be playing short or third, these first couple weeks and months to come in Louisville?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be playing second base every day in Louisville. I'm still going to be getting work over at shortstop and third base, doing early work and stuff just to make sure my arm stays in shape. It just all depends on what happens up top. Really, I don't have a lot of information on really, where they see me play, but they want me to learn second base, and I kind of have a good grasp on how to play it just from playing it before. But it's just the main thing was getting me acclimated to third base, shortstop, and second base. That's really what the plan was.
Nick, what do you think about, just from a larger baseball perspective? It seems like over the last really 5 years, we've seen this so much where organizations want their top prospects to get as many different defensive pathways to the major leagues as possible, because there's a chance you might get there at the position that you ordinarily would play, you naturally play, and somebody's blocking you. And I know I talked with Jeff Grappe a little bit during spring training, and he said the thing about it is we want every option on the table to get these guys to the major leagues. So whether it's playing that somewhere that might be out of position, at least you have that ability to get to the majors based on the fact that you can handle it. And that's been pretty much baseball wide. What do you think that is for your generation now of players to get to tackle that? And it's kind of seen, more as an asset than it is a detriment. It's not a knock on where you play defensively. It's, let's add some more stuff so we can get that glove and the bat to the big leagues.
Yeah, I think that's where the game is kind of shifting to kind of a new era of like getting guys to be more versatile. Try them at different positions, just so they can be in the lineup every day. So if someone, if you're playing third base and say like someone needs one of the regular shortstop, second base needs a day off, you can just slide right over. So I think that's where it's kind of shifting. And it kind of sounds like a bad thing, when you feel when they're saying when the public eye is like, oh, they're trying them out of third, short, second, they feel like. It almost feels like that you struggle at each of those positions, so they're trying to find you a spot where you're good at. But if you know that, and the organization knows that you can play different positions, I think ultimately it's going to help you throughout your career.
Let's talk about last season a little bit. You debut in 2016 after going in the first round, and you get 68 games under your belt. It's a fantastic season. And then you go out in 2017, and you get better as you climb a level with Daytona, 305, 371, 476, your slash line in 62 games. Then you go up to AA, 340, 413, 560. What do you think contributed to that, to being able to be more successful at a more difficult level?
I don't know. I just, the high A and it being my, first full season, just trying to get acclimated to the everyday lifestyle, of a full season. And, I feel like I did okay in high A. I felt like I could have done more. So when I got to call up to AA, I really knew I had to take advantage of that opportunity and, just try to get off to a hot start, which I really didn't do, but it's hard to say. I just think in AA, those guys on the mound, they know what they're doing. The game's a little bit crisper. They have a plan on where they're around the zone a lot more. I just feel like when you get that pitch to hit, you can't miss it. And I felt like throughout my time in AA, I did a pretty good job on hitting mistakes and just hitting pitches around the zone.
Yeah, and what about that? You're making another jump now, and as Tyler mentioned, it's the top level. It's kind of prospect finishing school. What can you kind of take away from, what you were able to do at Pensacola and how you were able to handle those tougher pitchers, those upper level pitchers? What can you take away from that and put into your work here coming up here in AAA?
I just think the same thing. Just stay within myself. Don't try to be anyone I'm not. Just same approach. Have a plan. I mean, there's going to be good arms. There's going to be some veterans. There's going to be some young guys that could throw it well. I just think not thinking too much. Just do what I've been doing. Don't really stray away from it. Because I mean, there's been great competition at every level I've been in. I feel. Everyone's trying to make it to the big league. So there's definitely going to be, great competition, great arms, great players. So I just think, staying within myself, not trying to do too much.
And, you are really close to the majors now. Everybody at AAA is, you're just that one call away, obviously, but getting 15 games of spring training, big league action under your belt now, the team moving you around defensively, trying to find an avenue for you. How close do you really feel right now, and how does that kind of fit into what your plan or what you thought where you thought you would be going into your second full season when you were drafted, coming up on 2 years ago?
Well, I was telling someone this the other day. I can't believe it's 2018. I was like, I feel like yesterday it was 2016. I was getting drafted, and today I'm in Louisville, and we're looking out for tornadoes. It's been a whirlwind, really. It's gone by. Yeah, pretty much. But it's gone by so quick. That first. The slowest part of it was probably coming out of college and getting that 60 whatever games in, the 68 games, whatever I played. It's probably the longest, time. I felt like it kind of moved slow, but that first full season, that spring training moved by so fast, and now I'm here in AAA. I couldn't have really scripted it much better than this. I'm blessed to be where I'm at. It's just gone by so quick. I got to pinch myself and take a step back sometimes and just think of, this whole journey I've been through, and it's just starting to begin. I feel because ultimately the goal is to make it to the big leagues, and I'm not there yet. So there's still a ton of work to be done, but it's exciting.
And one of the perks of being this close and being in Major League camp, especially in that one with the Reds, is that you get to be, around Joey Votto every day. I think a lot of people would pay for a seminar between the two of you to talk hitting, but what kind of discussions did you guys have? What were you able to pick up from him? And what is a hitting discussion with Joey Votto like exactly, if you've had one?
Yeah, I mean, that's just a guy you want to be around. I mean, you would like to go home with him and spend nights with him just to gain some of his knowledge. I mean, he's pretty good. He's an open book. If you approach him and want to talk baseball or anything other than baseball, I mean, he's pretty open to, he'll shoot it straight. Very smart guy. He's been in the league so long, and when you watch him work, he's still trying to get better every single day, and he's an established. He's one of the top hitters in the game, and you look at this guy, and he still wants to continue to get better every day. It's pretty amazing, especially just watching his at bats, and talking to him too. Is he's got such a different approach when it comes to hitting. It's like when you talk to him, it's just like you're in like a movie or a dream. You're like, whoa, what's going on? He's just so smart. He just knows what he wants to do every time he's up at the plate. I've had a few conversations with him, and I don't even really truly remember a whole lot of it, just because it was so intellectually smart, and it was his plan, how he prepared. That's just a guy you want to be around, though. A great teammate, good leader, obviously, best hitter in the game. So it was good to be around him for as long as.
Has he coached you on how to properly deke Cubs fans and then rocket a baseball to the roof of Wrigley Field?
No, he hasn't done that yet. I think he may want to wait for that, but
that might be a second spring thing.
Yeah, he's got so many on the field shenanigans he does, and it's just him, and it is so funny because you never know if he's serious or not. So it's kind of like, do I laugh at that, or is he serious, or even when he's in the dugout, you want to talk to him, if he's in the zone, you don't want to break the zone. It's just, but he loves to joke around. But I mean, when it's time to step, between the lines, it's all focus, all go, zoned in. So just try to honestly take after his mental preparation and his work ethic, because it is off the charts. It is.
Nick, last thing for you: when you graduate from the prospect lists and are an established big leaguer, the guy who it looks like right now is going to take over your mantle as a top Reds prospect is last year's first round selection and second overall selection, Hunter Green. And you didn't get to spend a ton of time on the minor league side, but have you gotten a chance to watch Hunter much? I mean, he's such a unique prospect in the fact that he can throw 101 on the mound, and he can also hit bombs during BP. I mean, that's got to be a pretty cool guy to have in the system, and all of the focus that he brings as an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah, I really wish I could have seen him throw in spring training. I didn't get a chance to see him throw. obviously I heard great things. I've gotten to talk to Hunter a couple times. We spent some time this off season in West Point. I got to meet him there. Got to talk to him a little bit. He's a good kid. He's young, very talented, very mature for his age. Got a great arm. It's just going to be a learning process for him. I mean, he's just a young kid, but standing next to him, he looks like he's damn near 30. But I've gotten to talk to him. Great guy, great family. And I think he's going to go out there and have a great year.
All right, well, Nick, we'll end on this one just to kind of wrap everything together. We've talked so much about your defensive versatility and all that and your hit tool, but what do you think about yourself allows you to play well on both sides? Be able to put up an average in the mid 300s and also provide, a really good defense. Like, what about you allows you to play so well both sides of the ball?
Man, that is a great question. I mean, you hear the cliche about, working hard and all that. I think for me, it starts with health, and it starts with preparing my body to get ready to go every single day. I think that's been the biggest thing, just staying healthy and making sure I'm ready to go every day. Because as you guys know, it's a long season. You just get, and the biggest thing also is never taking a bat out to the field and never taking anything defensively to your at bat. I'm sure you guys have heard that. I think that's one thing that I've really prided myself on is kind of keeping level-headed on both sides of the ball. So I think that would be it.
Well, certainly not lacking in prospect excitement in the Cincinnati Reds organization. The guy who is next in line to take over as one of the top young talents on that roster is Nick Senzel, the top overall prospect in the Reds organization, number 7 overall in all of minor league baseball, according to MLB Pipeline. You can find Nick on Twitter. He is at Lil Senzi with an extra I on the end. Nick, dodge all the tornadoes possible, please. We don't need to hear about any actual tornadoes affecting the Louisville Bats. And
if you don't hear from me, I got swallowed up.
We will certainly keep our highest hopes that is not the case. And enjoy Louisville, man. Best of luck however long it lasts in AAA, and enjoy every moment of it down there.
All right, thanks, guys.
And we're back on this week's kind of Megacast for minor league baseball opening day. I'm joined now, it's just the two of us, with Benjamin Hill. Ben, how are you doing?
Doing well, Sam. I did not know I was taking part in a Megacast.
Yeah, it's a big Megacast this week. We've got you, Kelsie Heneghan, Josh Jackson, Nick Senzel on the podcast, ton of people. We already gave our predictions. We're going to get into some of yours later, more off-the-field stuff, more promo stuff. But I do want to start this week kind of where we left off last week. At the same time last week, you had released 3 of your 5 road trips for the 2018 season. Now we know what the final 2 will be. So starting with the 4th one, this one's going to be a kind of New York Penn League tour for you.
Right, yeah. Last week we talked about the first 3 trips, hitting the Northeast in May and the Midwest in June, and then a pretty extended southern swing in July. My August trip is somewhat similar to my first trip in May in that it is non-consecutive. Just hitting a bunch of teams in the same region, close to where I'm based here in New York, and coincidentally where you're based as well.
Where I'm also based, yes.
So it is not one of those trips where I fly in somewhere and spend a week or 10 days and then fly back. This is kind of incremental throughout the month. August 8th, the Brooklyn Cyclones. That's going to be one of the nights where they suit up as the Brooklyn Jefes as part of Copa de la Diversion, the MILB initiative, a Hispanic Heritage Initiative that we've talked about in prior episodes of the podcast. Going to hit Staten Island on August 10th. That's a Friday. And the thing with Brooklyn Cyclones and Staten Island for me is, I live in Brooklyn. We work here in Manhattan. These are local teams for us, and I've certainly visited these teams, usually about once a year, but I do it as a fan. And then I always tell myself, man, you should do this officially. But usually I'm in the midst of so much else going on that if I don't have to do it, I don't. And then I feel bad at the end of the year that another year went by and I didn't officially visit the 2 teams that are in our our city for goodness sake. So this year,
in our borough in one case.
Yeah, in my borough, I live on the Q train off of Beverly for any potential stalkers out there, and to get to Coney Island where the Cyclones play is just a ride on the Q train. Not very far at all. It's by far my home or my closest team, the Cyclones. So anyway, they are officially on the schedule to ensure that I do not shirk my duty of visiting our local teams this year. And so that's August 8th and 10th. And then August 19th, I'm going to be in Williamsport, not for a Williamsport Crosscutters game, but for the second annual Little League Classic, where they're hosting a Major League Baseball game at Bowman Field, the Crosscutters, 90-year-old ballpark with a capacity of, 4,000 or 5,000 people. So to see a Major League game in that environment is going to be interesting. But, of course, I'll give it the minor league angle, more like, operationally, how does a very small front office put this show on, and who do they coordinate with, and what needs to be considered, and all that sort of stuff, and who knows what else. But that's the Little League Classic. Happy to be there on August 19th. The next day is a Sunday, and I'm going to head over from Williamsport to State College to see the Spikes. Then I'll come back to New York. And thank you, Sam. See, I dropped my pen, and Sam's so courteous. He just picked it up as I was speaking. But this road trip will end on August 24th in Aberdeen, where I've not been since 2011. I hadn't visited the Spikes in State College since 2010, so there is a theme with a lot of these teams I haven't visited for a long time. But August 24th, the Aberdeen Ironbirds on the night in which they are suiting up as the Steamed Crabs.
And so that's going to be your northeast kind of tour, New York Penn League tour. And then in September, you're going to be heading to Colorado, and it's too bad Tyler's not with us today. He's actually working right now with the mascot of the podcast, Leica. They're doing dog training right now. But for all of those in Colorado, you'll finally be headed that direction come September. What stops you making there?
Right. And Tyler, I assume you're at least listening to me say these words right now. And finally,
he is editing this as well.
Right,
so
right.
He will hear this in one fashion.
So Tyler, this is for you, buddy. I'm coming to your home state. I know you've had a lot of bitterness that I've neglected the Mountain Time Zone for most of my years, and Colorado specifically. But last year I went on a trip where the original itinerary was to try to go to every team in the Pioneer League, Salt Lake, and Colorado Springs. I was not able to get a coherent itinerary together with all 10 of those teams, and I ended up chopping off Grand Junction and Colorado Springs from that trip. Now cut to this September, and Grand Junction and Colorado Springs will be literally the only two locales left for me to visit in all of minor league baseball in terms of stadiums I've never been. So I'm going to end this season, end the last weekend of the season, end it with a visit to Colorado, and finally the last two teams I've yet to visit in the whole minor league baseball landscape, Colorado Springs, September 2nd and 3rd, and then after that afternoon game ends on the 3rd, I'll drive over to Grand Junction and see the Grand Junction Rockies on the 4th. The Colorado Springs game on September 2nd and 3rd, the Sky Sox, that's going to be their two final games in their AAA history because, as you may or may not know, as part of a convoluted series of maneuvers, Colorado Springs is going to be a rookie-level team next year with the Helena Brewers now operating in Colorado Springs, and the AAA team currently in Colorado Springs will be moving to San Antonio. So, excuse me, I forgot to hit the cough button, but so I'll close out the season, Colorado Springs, as they close out their AAA history, and then Grand Junction, and that'll be it. Then I'm going to retire, and I assume I'm getting a really generous pension as a result of all my travel, and I'm looking forward to my life of retirement and leisure.
Well, you can't say that because there's going to be new teams next year that you haven't hit yet.
Oh, but that's no concern to me. I think
Okay.
there's a clause in my contract that if I visit every park that exists at that moment, then I can retire with, I believe, a 7-figure annual stipend.
That's why new stadiums have opened up every year. It's just to push back your retirement.
Just to thwart
year
me.
After year
just
after
to
year.
thwart me. It's been a long-standing conspiracy, but finally I'm coming out on top. And so there we go. I've got a trip in May, June, July, August, September, 5 in all, something about 24 stops in all, over 200 stops in my career. And as I said, every single ballpark will have been visited finally by the end of the 2018 season.
And you're still looking for designated eaters for all of these, right?
Right. So now all the specific itinerary posts are out. I will have a designated eater post out very shortly. It might not be at every single location. In some locations there might be specifics where I don't want to prioritize the food, but I'll put out a list of available spots along with the criteria. Of course, I'm getting a lot of people on Twitter already saying, pencil me in for that, and I appreciate your interest, but I do not pencil anyone in via Twitter. I have systems and processes that must be followed, and I guess it's processes, not processes.
Processes sounds more fun.
I kind of sounded more official saying that, but check it out. We're going to put out a press release, kind of hyping up my travel in general. We're going to have a designated eater post coming up. Lots more stuff to come from the road. Potential charitable partnership for the road trips. So there's a lot more to come, and since I don't really go on any specific trips until early May, got all of April to get all those ducks in a row and promote, and while covering, the minor league scene from a macro perspective, as I am wont to do.
Mm-hmm. And just to tease one aspect of that as well, we talked about this a little bit, but I'll be joining you for at least a couple stops on the New York Penn League Tour as well. Definitely Brooklyn, because I'm a couple F stops away. Definitely Staten Island, and we'll have to see how State College and Aberdeen are going to kind of shake themselves out. But yeah, a lot of new things with the trips this year, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, we'll have some. You and I will have some joint trips. Hopefully, I can see Tyler when I go to Colorado, and I think there'll be some other interesting partnerships and ways of doing things as the season progresses. And if you're listening to this and you have any suggestions based on anywhere I've gone in terms of what you'd like to see, ways in which I could collaborate with you potentially, or just suggestions in general. This is a whole niche, a whole beat that I do is not one that has hard and fast rules. So I'm always trying to be creative with it and appreciate as much reader and listener feedback as possible. Hit me up on Twitter @BensBiz or email me benjamin.hill@mlb.com. I'd say call me, but I don't think I should give out.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I think you have plenty of avenues open in which people can reach you.
I do.
So before we get to your predictions, I kind of want to just bring up, this is opening week, so we might as well talk about it from your perspective. What is kind of opening week like for minor league teams? A lot of them are starting on Thursday. Some of them in the IL are starting on Friday. What is it like when they're first getting going? What kind of promotions are there for opening day? It feels like it's pretty sparse because it's opening day. We want you here. That's the draw, is that it's the first game of the season. But what do these first couple of days look like from the business end?
Right. I mean, I think it's very similar to Major League Baseball where, opening day hits and that's huge. That's a big event. You have big crowds, a lot of excitement. And then there's sort of the inevitable letdown of like, oh, okay, now it's game 2 and game 3 and school's still in session. The weather's still really cold. Those are some of the deadest days of the year, operationally speaking, for a lot of teams. So there aren't very many like interesting promotions for much of April. And just like a lot of things, things don't really kick into gear until the weather gets warmer, school lets out, and you really have that summertime atmosphere. And that's where teams are going to put, man, I forgot to hit the golf button again. But that's where teams put their resources into days in which they're going to make money. So that's why a lot of people who work for short season teams will be like, "This is how you do it." Don't operate during the times of year when you don't really make money. Just start up in mid-June and get cracking during the time of year when you can really make some money. And in a lot of ways, I look at it, from a front office perspective, the same way. If you're a teacher, even if you've taught for 10 years, 20 years, you're going to have all this nervousness going into the first day of school and saying like, oh man, like how's this year gonna go, and do I remember how I used to do things, and I feel like it's a lot of like that with minor league front office. Is there's so much anticipation, so much planning, so much time off, not from work but from the actual season, that once it starts again, everyone's a little like, whoa, here we go again. So it's kind of an uneasiness, and there's just so many moving parts that have to work, and I think that's why a lot of teams sort of enjoy having collegiate or high school games in late March or early April that they can host sort of as dry runs, dress rehearsals for the season itself. And you probably are going to see a few more kinks operationally speaking, in terms of between inning contest being maybe a little incoherent, or snafus on the video board or the PA or whatever have you. These teams are professionals, professionally run. It'll be fine. Most fans won't notice anything if there's anything wrong in the first place. But just like anything in life, everyone just kind of has to get their legs underneath them and get running and sort of relearn how to do things, even if they've done them before.
All right. So much of what we're talking about with players, which if they struggle in the first couple of weeks, don't worry about it. That transitions to everybody. Everybody's human.
I really do think. I think we're talking about like a core facet of just being alive.
Yeah, we're universal truths, I think, is what we share here. So we've kind of teased it a couple times now. We did, I think, 7 predictions in the opening segment with Kelsie and Josh and Tyler. So, Ben, this is your chance. What are kind of 7 predictions you have for the upcoming season? Or, it doesn't have to be that number, however many you want to do.
I think I got about 7. This is, of course, random when you're trying to synthesize and make sense of 160 teams and what they're doing. And these are some promotions and some just observations. First, I have a trend on the rise, and there's a pun there. If you recall last year when there was the eclipse and teams in the path of totality, had eclipse delays and blah, 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 NASA got involved with a lot of those promotions and made it clear. My contact with NASA is a man named Noah Petro. He actually came to the promo seminar and made it clear that the eclipse was something they saw as a means to get into minor league baseball and find a new forum in which people could learn about astronomy and the moon and whatnot. So there are NASA nights in Fresno, Myrtle Beach, Arkansas, and Lowell. I'm sure there's others, so that is a trend on the rise. The top trend this year is Sandlot nights. We've talked about that in the past, but I can count right here about 24 teams that are doing 25th anniversary Sandlot nights. So if you want the number one trend of 2018, that's what it is in terms of something that's specific to an anniversary year. I don't think we're going to see much Sandlot stuff.
26th anniversary.
Right.
Stuff.
We might start to see it in 2023, but a huge year for Sandlot. Star Wars is nothing new, but one thing interesting about Star Wars this year is that May the 4th is on a Friday. And, teams like to do the promotion on May the 4th because it's Star Wars Day or what have you. But, if May the 4th is on a Tuesday, just because that's satisfying to do, you're probably not going to do it. But it's on a Friday this year, so we have 25, according to my count, maybe more, Star Wars promotions on May the 4th. So that's going to be just a huge night promotionally across minor league baseball with so many teams doing the same thing.
It's kind of gotten to the point with that one. It makes me wonder, what are you doing if you're not doing a Star Wars promotion May the 4th?
Right. So I have 25 listed. There might be more than that. There's, assumedly 60 teams playing that day with home games. So that's about half right now that I have. And the other half, what are you doing? What are you doing with your lives?
Hopefully something cool and original, because you have that as most predictable. So
yeah,
if they have some other way they want to celebrate May the 4th, I'm all for it. But yeah, it seems too easy.
Yeah. One category I have is, you guys talk about the sort of under the radar prospects or players. An under-the-radar promotion is the Syracuse Chiefs are celebrating Brannick Device Night. And before this promotion was announced, I didn't know what a Brannick device was, but it is that that foot measuring device that is at a shoe store, where you put your heel down in it and, it's metal and very well designed. So once I tweeted about that, kind of like, hey, this is weird and random, Paul Lucas from UniWatch, he has a great audience who are into the specifics of design. He got in touch with the team. He's going to go out there and throw a first pitch. And the promotion started to take on a bit of a life of its own at a point when the Chiefs, I think, were like, oh, we didn't even know this was going to be a thing,
right.
Other than the fact that this device was invented in the Syracuse region. So they were just kind of doing, we'll figure out the details later, but it's already getting some traction. So if you want a real under-the-radar promo that's probably going to be a bigger deal than anyone would expect, check out Brannick Device Night in Syracuse on May 31st. Under the category of the hardest to predict promo, a lot of promos, what's going to happen. Star Wars Night, you basically know what's going to happen. The hardest to predict is, for my money, June 2nd, the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs are shooting off bacon-themed fireworks.
I just imagine it's like waves. That's all. Like
right.
It just looks like waves in the sky, or is it a bacon smell?
Right. Are they
that would be great because that
yeah.
smoky, smell you get from fireworks. Everybody knows exactly gunpowder smell basically. But if they could come up with making that smell like bacon, that would be awesome. But yeah, I don't know exactly what that means.
Hardest to predict. I mean, is it going to be bacon images in the sky? Is it going to be a smell? Are they going to really, crank up that bacon-themed song list on Spotify to accompany it? I don't know.
Kevin Bacon has a band, doesn't he?
Yeah, there you go.
The Bacon Brothers or something like that?
Yeah, there you go. It'll be more than 6 degrees out that night. Then we have what I would call the most creative giveaway, also the one most likely to be a prank. The Altoona Curve on Office Night are giving away championship rings, replica championship rings, Eastern League championship rings in Jell-O.
Right, which is a reference to Jim doing that to all of Dwight's stuff, essentially.
Right. And so I'm a little curious. I'm going to talk to the team, I'm sure, beforehand. But
right. How much Jell-O do they have to make?
Yeah. I mean, is this something they
Is
can...
it just like a little Jell-O cup?
Yeah. Is this something they're outsourcing? Is it going to be real Jell-O or something that resembles Jell-O? So that's in the most creative category / most confounding in a lot of ways.
Right.
And finally, I have the promotion least likely to spark a trend. And that's one I don't think other teams are going to follow up on. The Lake Elsinore Storm, always on the cutting edge, always on the vanguard.
Something like that.
Are doing O.J. Simpson's night. And
No, it's better if you see it. Like, you say O.J. Simpson's night, and you're just like, Right. It's not apostrophe S. It's Simpsons, like the cartoon.
Right, so they're not celebrating an individual who...
Former Buffalo Bills running back.
Right, who has a checkered past, to say the least, and who is probably not appropriate to celebrate at the ballpark based on alleged misdeeds. O.J. Simpson's night is just combination... Oh, hey, what? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize this might be offensive. We just happen to be celebrating The Simpsons and orange juice
on the same
night. It's just a coincidence. It's O.J. Simpson's night, guys. That's the Lake Elsinore Storm with the promotion least likely to spark a trend. I forget what night they're doing. I didn't write it down. I think it's in August 14th or so.
And that's not something that you can just Google either. You can't just Google O.J. Simpson's Lake Elsinore and see what happens.
So those are just a few predictions / interesting observations. Please check out MILB.com. I'll be writing promo preview columns as much as I am able. And I think this year with promo preview, I won't just be doing what's coming up immediately. I'll focus more on trends and try to get a little more creative with it. But if you like minor league baseball promotions, please realize I am the best and first at doing it. Everyone else is a pale imitation of the original and best. Ben's Biz, king of all minor league promotions, king of all minor league baseball media, the greatest of all time, best there ever was and best there ever will be.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep these all down. I want you to keep this sheet so I don't have to listen to the episode in September, and we'll revisit these. Same way we'll revisit some of our predictions we made earlier with the other crew. So happy opening week, Ben.
And to you as well, Sam. Happy opening week. Tyler, when you're listening to this to edit, happy opening week to you. I'm sorry not to be talking to you. I miss you. And a happy opening week to all our listeners. And I hope they're enjoying this Megacast.
Yeah, we'll join you again next week for what will actually be a regular season podcast again.
That's right. And I'm sorry I was being so arrogant and describing myself earlier. I'm just very humble, and thank you very much for your support. That's really all I meant.
So as I was saying about Ronald Acuna, it's just they're really opening a spot for left field in him, but he should be playing either center or right. I get it. Ender Inciarte is there. Nick Markakis is right. And you're not going to.
Sam, enough is enough. Can Josh and I leave now?
You guys been here the whole time?
It's been 4 hours, Sam.
Just be very glad, everybody at home, that we cut the other 3 hours and 59 minutes out.
Sam had a PowerPoint. It made me log on and watch it. It was a whole
I was
thing.
on chapter 22 of a 39 chapter diatribe. So
Sam's written fan fiction about Ronald Acuna. It's very strange. It's he built this whole world around him, and he's a baseball playing superhero. It's a very strange thing that he wanted to.
All right, this is taking it a little too far. The guy is out there with feelings. I'm not that weird.
And superpowers, apparently.
Well, yes, those actually do exist,
Sam.
but.
Oh, my goodness. Get in touch with us, podcast at MILB.com. We're all on Twitter. You can find us there and let us know all of your thoughts on the 2018 minor league baseball season, which, depending on when you're listening to this, may already be underway. Thursday opening day across the minors, and we're excited to have you along for another year of the show before the show and everything else at MILB.com. For Josh Jackson, Kelsie Heneghan, and Sam Dykstra, I'm Tyler Maun. We'll talk to you next
Happy
week.
baseball, everybody.